Welcome to today's report regarding the conduct of the Southern African Development Community, Sadc, mostly towards the 2017 Zimbabwe's coup and now the one of Madagascar. Based on the extensive evidence and recent developments, it is reasonable to argue that the Southern African Development Community, Sadc, has increasingly failed to uphold its foundational principles of democracy, peace, and regional integrity. Sadc, a disgrace to the people of Southern Africa. The Southern African Development Community, Sadc, established to promote peace, security, and economic integration among its 16 member states, has increasingly come under scrutiny for its failure to uphold democratic principles and respond effectively to political crises. Recent events, particularly involving the leadership transitions in Zimbabwe and Madagascar, have exposed deep flaws in the organization's governance, integrity, and credibility. The Mnangagwa coup and Sadc's silence. In 2017, Emmerson Mnangagwa ascended to power in Zimbabwe following a military-led ousting of then-President Robert Mugabe. While the transition was widely recognized as a coup, Sadc refrained from condemning the act or initiating any formal investigation. Instead, Mnangagwa was later appointed as the chairperson of Sadc in 2024, a move that many critics saw as a tacit endorsement of unconstitutional power grabs. During his tenure, Mnangagwa faced widespread allegations of meddling in the electoral processes of neighboring countries, including Mozambique, Botswana, and Namibia. Observers accused Zimbabwe's ruling ZANU-PF party of interfering in elections by sending voters across borders and influencing ballot printing contracts through controversial figures like Wicknell Chivayo. These actions not only undermined the sovereignty of member states, but also cast doubt on the legitimacy of Sadc's leadership. Madagascar's coup and the cycle of illegitimacy. In August 2025, Mnangagwa handed over the SADC chairmanship to Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina. Barely 2 months into his tenure, Madagascar was plunged into political chaos. A renegade army unit, CAPSAT, which had previously helped Rajoelina rise to power in a 2009 coup, joined youth-led protests and installed a new military chief, General Demosthenes Pikulas. The presidency denounced the move as an attempted illegal and forcible seizure of power, yet Sadc remained conspicuously silent. The irony is stark. The previous Sadc chair came to power through a coup, and the current chair is now being removed through similar means. This pattern reveals a disturbing normalization of unconstitutional changes in leadership within the bloc, with Sadc failing to enforce its own protocols on democratic governance and rule of law. A regional body without teeth. Sadc's inability to respond decisively to political crises is not new. In Zimbabwe, Mozambique, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and Lesotho, the organization has consistently failed to mediate effectively or hold leaders accountable. Unlike West Africa's ECOWAS, which has intervened in multiple crises to uphold democratic norms, Sadc has often opted for inaction or superficial diplomacy. This reluctance is rooted in the solidarity among former liberation movements that dominate many Sadc member states. Parties like South Africa's ANC, Zimbabwe's ZANU-PF, Mozambique's Frelimo, and Namibia's SWAPO have historically shielded each other from criticism, prioritizing regime preservation over democratic accountability. Electoral integrity in shambles. Sadc's credibility has also been eroded by its failure to ensure free and fair elections. The 2023 Zimbabwean elections were marred by logistical failures, ballot shortages in opposition strongholds, and allegations of vote rigging. Despite these irregularities, Sadc's observer mission declared the elections peaceful, further undermining public trust in the organization's impartiality. In Mozambique, post-election violence erupted following contested results, yet Sadc's response was limited to calls for dialogue, with no concrete action to address the underlying grievances. This pattern of rubber-stamping flawed elections has led many to view Sadc as complicit in the erosion of democratic norms, institutional weaknesses and lack of accountability. Sadc's institutional frameworks, such as the Organ on Politics, Defence and Security Cooperation, have proven ineffective in addressing crises. Studies have shown that the organ suffers from slow response times, internal contradictions, and a lack of engagement with civil society. The Mediation Support Unit, established to assist in peace processes, remains underfunded and underutilised, further limiting Sadc's capacity to act decisively. Moreover, Sadc's decision-making processes are often dominated by national interests rather than regional stability. This has led to inconsistent interventions, such as the controversial Operation Balaus in Lesotho in 1998, which many viewed as serving South Africa's strategic interests rather than promoting peace. Public disillusionment and regional consequences. The cumulative effect of Sadc's failures has been a growing sense of disillusionment among the people of Southern Africa. Citizens increasingly view the organisation as a club of elites more concerned with protecting each other than serving the public. Protests against Mnangagwa's Sadc chairmanship in Zambia and the UK, as well as the youth-led uprising in Madagascar, reflect a broader rejection of Sadc's legitimacy. This erosion of trust has serious implications. Without a credible regional body to mediate disputes and uphold democratic norms, Southern Africa risks descending into a cycle of instability, authoritarianism, and economic stagnation. The failure to act against coups and electoral fraud not only undermines democracy, but also threatens regional peace and development. Call for reform or rejection. Sadc was envisioned as a beacon of regional cooperation, peace, and democratic governance. Yet, its recent track record suggests a body that has lost its moral compass. The normalization of coups, failure to address electoral fraud, and reluctance to challenge authoritarian regimes have rendered Sadc a disgrace in the eyes of many Southern Africans. If Sadc is to reclaim its legitimacy, it must undergo radical reform. This includes strengthening its institutional capacity, enforcing its protocols, engaging civil society, and prioritizing the interests of the people over political elites. Without such changes, Sadc risks becoming irrelevant, a hollow shell that perpetuates the very instability it was created to prevent. Thank you for watching. Let's meet in the next video. Like, share and subscribe.